Now remember, you're good enough, you're smart enough, and gosh darn it, people like you. Hey everybody, Economic Ninja here. I hope you're doing great. Got a great one for you today. And when I mean great, it's bad, but that's good. Let's give thanks. Let's all give thanks right now. If you didn't know all this crap was going down, you'd be in ignorance. I guess ignorance is bliss, but you do, and you're doing something about it. And it's good that bad things are happening because it wakes us up. It gets us motivated. It gets us doing things. It gives us something to complain about. And sometimes, well, quite frankly, it just makes us feel better when we complain. I'm joking. I'm feeling a little froggy right now. I'll grab a little cup of coffee. All right, here we go. We're going to talk about the jobs numbers. There's a lot of information that came out. Now, if you could tell by my thumbnail, old Presidente-in-Chief keeps touting how great his, yeah, I got to keep it clean. He's touting how great of a job he's doing. Type 1 down below if you think he's doing a great job, or type 2 if you think that this White House is completely bought and paid for, just a bunch of puppet shills, and they are selling us out to the highest bidder. I think that is what's personally going on. Type 2 if you think that's the case. And I think that other countries are running this country right now through the White House. It's pretty scary. And as we get closer and closer to full-blown economic collapse, not that we're not collapsing already, but that the people, the sheeple, the people that are all running in the same direction, running off the cliff, and you're like, no, don't run off the cliff. There's something I got to warn you. And they're like, shut up. Just do what everyone else is doing. Sorry, shut up. Shut up. Anyway, you get my point. Let's talk about the jobs numbers. This story is out of Zero Hedge, entitled Inside Today's Disastrous Jobs Report. 670,000 full-time jobs lost in 2 months versus 1 million part-time surge. Well, isn't that just nice? Would you look at that? Would you just look at that? Technically, that's a net positive, right? There's more jobs. Yeah, but they're part-time jobs. Yeah, but still, there's just more jobs. It's like, oh, gosh. Okay, let's dive into it. This is the worst unadjusted August payrolls since the Great Recession. Man, that's weird. We're starting to see a lot of those numbers. Inflation, not this high since the 80s or the 70s. Jobs, not this bad since the Great Recession. Oh, stocks, not this bad since, we're seeing Great Depression numbers. We're seeing all these statistics where it's like, it hasn't been this bad since it was really bad. And people are like, oh, it's okay. It's okay. We're okay. At least we're not wearing masks. You're like, well, that's coming too. Do you understand why I have to use sarcasm? Type 3 if you guys understand. When you just got to use sarcasm, even though it's the lowest form of humor, sometimes you just got to get down low with the other people. The simpletons. And I'm not using the word simpleton as an insult. Well, yep, I am. But it's okay. I've been called it too. All right, here we go. While the prevailing post-payrolls narrative has focused on the divergence between the stronger than expected headline payrolls print and unexpected spike in the unemployment rate from 3.5% to 3.8%, the highest since February of 2002, a closer look at the detail of today's job report, which was yesterday, reveals just how ugly the reality behind the budget-busting Bidenomics truly is. He's doing such a great job. Let's start with the revisions. And I'm just joking. It's not because he's an idiot. It's because he's getting paid to do it. That's why he can't see the laptop. Regular readers are aware that earlier this year, we spotted a peculiar trend when it comes to economic data released by the Biden administration, which, without fail, has been revised lower. Now remember, I keep saying it, look at the revisions. That's where the truth's in the pudding, because all the sheep have already moved on to next month's stuff. Tell us, Daddy, what's going to happen today? It's like, you're going to jump off a cliff and die. Oh, it sounds delightful. Crazy. All right. It says this month was no different. In fact, as shown in the chart below, the jobs print from every single month has been revised lower. Let me show you. This is really good stuff here. All right, so this chart here, because my technical editor, throw this up. Okay. So this is going back from just January, February, March, and so on. This is a chart of 2023. What you can see is your blue line is your original. Then you got your green line, which is lower. That's your revision. And now the Biden, they've been doing such a bad job, we have to do the revision to the revision, which is the red line. So you can see every time they're like, jobs are great, not so great. Oh, they suck. Oh, this one is like, jobs are great, jobs are better. No, you're an idiot. They really suck. And I can just keep going on and on and on. But the point being is this. What's the trend? Blue line pretty much is always ahead except for 1 month where everybody was high. But that's just because they have cocaine in the White House. I was like, it's free. It's like, you might as well try it. Don't do drugs. That's my statement of the day. But you can see by and large, your blue line is higher than all the other lines. So that's your big lie. Then a little bit more truth comes out and then the real truth. Okay. Thank you, editor. All right, so let's do this. Getting pretty technical on this channel, like you guys can tell. This sucks, it's not good. Oh, that's bad, okay. Okay. The household survey showed that the number of employed workers actually increased by 268,000 to 1.61 million. The second month in a row, the household survey bested the establishment. So far, so good. There are just two problems with this number. First, the birth-death rate model, which is integrated into the BLS's current employment statistics release, which contains the NFP's, non-fungible payrolls, and which serves as one of the core tweak layers, which the BLS, Bureau of Labor Statistics, they need to start putting all these things in here, all these acronyms. Stop for a second, just hold on. Do you think that we're getting a little too crazy with these acronyms? I mean, for any of you that have worked in the military, come on, you could answer that question right now. Say yes or no. I think we're starting, it's like, say the whole thing. Because there's so many people right now in the world that hear all these acronyms like they're supposed to know, and they just are like, huh? And it shouldn't be that complicated. Just say the whole word. I'm so sick and tired of acronyms. It will not come as a surprise to many that in August, the birth-death adjustment saw the fifth consecutive upward boost in a row. And at 103,000, it followed the second highest contribution in 2023. That's weird. A lot of people are passing away. You not only have the baby boomers, but you have an event that happened a few years ago. So to say the data is skewed is an understatement. There's a lot of acronyms in here. Oh boy. In other words, more than half of all the job gains were again the result of the BLS, Bureau of Labor Statistics, assuming that newly birthed businesses created at least 103,000 new jobs, a number which is not based at all on observable facts, but a regression to some historical trend line which only the BLS, Bureau of Labor Statistics, is privy to. Unfortunately, it gets much worse. What? Do tell. Because while the establishment survey only looks at jobs quantitatively, the housing survey also looks at the quality of jobs gained or lost. Well, let me ask you this. In a day and age where inflation is out of control, right? The Fed has not gotten in control of this yet, and unions are asking for demanding more money, not really realizing the problem that they're creating, because as they ask for more money, it's just a self-fulfilling prophecy. Eventually, the company's going to go out of business, or either ask the government for a bailout or go out of business, because there's just not that much money going around. The cogs of the money system are coming to a halt because velocity is rapidly slowing, because as more people have tighter budgets, they're forced into saving more, but then they're also at the same time going, our savings is getting depleted because of inflation, right? It's getting destroyed. So we're having to chase yield. Can you imagine, and I'm going off on a tangent here, but can you imagine a world where everybody has taken their money out of their savings accounts, they've dove into the stock market. Now, this is the biggest lesson today, no sarcasm right now. They've dove into the stock market. They're chasing higher yields, so we're going into riskier assets, i.e. junk bonds or stocks that shouldn't be where they are, right? Thank you, bud. And then all of a sudden there's a crash in the stock market. Doesn't this sound awfully eerily familiar to you, like the Roaring '20s? So let's stop again. I'm gonna go back a little bit even further. There was a flu called the Spanish flu in 1918. There was a shutdown, the slowing of the money system, the economy. It caused the Depression of 1920. Type 5 if you've never heard of the Depression of 1920. It's very important that people understand this. Then the Federal Reserve, and mind you, the Federal Reserve was brand new. They were only out well, I don't know, about 7 years prior to this happened, 6 years, something like that. Then, I can't make that announcement yet. Sorry, I got all excited. Then the Federal Reserve moves in and like, let's stimulate the economy. So they start to stimulate the economy. They push money into everybody's hands, and all of a sudden, for the next, I don't know, 6-7 years, there's wild, rampant speculation in the markets, and everything starts going up. Well, with everything going up, inflation also increases. And then everybody's diving into the stock market, ultimately in the bond markets, to chase yield, and then all of a sudden, all in one day, it comes crashing down. And people panic, and we're just talking about a day where the market's down a lot, right? It already started trickling down, but now it's down a lot. Sounds like what's happening right now, right? Stock markets do this, and then they're just doing this. And people are starting to get nervous. News headlines are already coming out, and they're like, if once recession's announced, we're going to see an instant plunge of 10% in the markets. Well, could that be a triggering event for a bunch of sheep to run for the hills and pull their money out, which would cause a liquidity crisis in a lot of markets? Yes. And then you have the crash of 29, and then the subsequent Great Depression. We are following that system, that timeline identically to where we're at now. And I wish more people understood how serious this was. I try and use sarcasm and satire, but this is crazy. All right, here we go. Let's dive back in. We're talking about the jobs report. Sorry, I digress. Well, one look at this month's adjustment, and it's literally a shocker. You will not hear anyone from the Biden admin or Associated Economist cheerleaders mention this, but the BLS reported that in August, the numbers of full-time jobs dropped again, sliding by 85,000 to 134 million, and followed the whopping 585,000 plunge in July, which brings the 2-month total drop in full-time jobs to a whopping 670,000. This is the biggest 2-month plunge since the COVID lockdowns in early 2020, when 12.5 million jobs were lost in 1 month. And that's an anomaly. You can't account for that. What the author really should be doing is taking this 2-month time slot of jobs lost and comparing it to what phase of the Great Recession we were in back then. That would have been a really good thing right there. It says here, but if full-time jobs crashed, how did the BLS get an increase of 222,000 employed workers? Simply, it was all in the latest jump of part-time workers. Indeed, August, the number of reported part-time workers jumped by 32,000, and when added to the near record 972,000 surge in July, the 2-month total was just over 1 million. Here's the truth. People are underemployed. People do not have the money to do what they did a couple of years ago. And that is going to continually add to the stress in the markets, the slowing of money transactions, the velocity of money is coming to a grinding halt, and you will see a liquidity crisis. That liquidity crisis is coming, I believe personally, before January. And I believe you're going to see it really ramping up in about 4 weeks. It's going to be super exciting. Everyone, I thank you so much for watching. The Economic Ninja is out.